everyone, it's Denise, a.k.a. Linus, and today I just wanted to stop in and record a video that's been long overdue. And it's a video I always wanted to record, and it's called 5 Things I Wish I Knew Before Turning 40, because I do realize that a lot of my female counterparts are over 40 or heading to that age range, and I just feel like there's like a wealth of information that we can get from one another, and it's just beautiful to see because all these women that I mentioned, they look young and their lives are very inspiring, especially those that live like a soft life, like a calm, soft life. It's just something to look forward to, something to appreciate. So that's why I wanted to stop in today. So as a preface, I am recording in a different room. I just wanted to change, especially because when I record videos, you don't really see the length of my hair because the camera is right up in my face and I'm sitting right in front of the camera. So before I turned 40, I had this preconceived notion that when you reach that age, whether you're a man or a woman, there's just certain things you shouldn't wear anymore. You shouldn't be getting new tattoos. You shouldn't be wearing ripped jeans. What's another thing? If you're a woman, you shouldn't be wearing short skirts. And I think that came into my head around like my teenage years and my 20s. That's the kind of stereotype and prejudice I had. But then when I got older, I realized that there's a preconceived notion of people 40 and up. Like a lot of the time, people that you see wearing that kind of stuff, if they are 40 or over, you can't even tell because they look good in it. So that's the thing. Like, I don't know where that prejudice came from, but I see people in their 50s and 60s with like wild colored hair and, you know, distressed jeans, combat boots. Like, you wear whatever you want to wear as long as it looks good on you or makes you feel good, then you're just gonna rock it. It's the same thing when I turned 40 and the first thing I wanted to do was color my hair. I colored it a red color, but it wasn't a natural red. I went between red, violet, and burgundy, and I had always wanted to do it. And I do wear ripped jeans, tank tops, short shorts. I'm not going to stand up. There's stuff I wear because I feel comfortable in it, and if I ever felt uncomfortable, I would stop doing it. But age isn't a factor when it comes to that. So my advice is just to wear whatever makes you feel good and not worry about what society or what younger people, especially teenagers, maybe your like nephews, nieces, son, daughter, feel like you should be wearing. The second thing I want to talk about is health. I guess once you reach a certain age, it's not really advisable to go without regular checkups with your family doctor, or if you have a specialist, to see a specialist on a regular basis. And then for my own father in particular, he did have cancer and it was caught at stage 4. And it's the type of cancer where if it's caught early, like you can live a long, pretty healthy life, but because it was already stage 4, he didn't live as long as he could have. So it's just important to get monitored. I know that during COVID, a lot of people, they kind of slacked off under physical activity, and a lot of people ate what they wanted to eat, like, you know, Uber Eats, junk food, because they're at home all the time. Not everyone, but a lot of people, even me included. There was a time where I was working from home and doing online classes, and I didn't move around that much during those few months. And when I went to my next doctor's appointment, even though I'm not overweight per se, my BMI is within normal limits, I did have high cholesterol and high blood pressure, and I had to change my diet and lose a little bit of weight to get rid of that. So even that's a cautionary tale. So just stay on top of your health, primarily so that if you do have some type of condition, you can catch it before it gets to the level where it's not treatable anymore. The thing is regrets. A lot of people have regrets in their life, and it could range from a whole bunch of things. And I don't want to get too personal by trying to like pull instances from my own life and put my own business out there. A lot of people, their biggest regret is that they were too afraid to do certain things. And I think that for myself, there's like a balance, because although I'm very, very practical, and there are times I don't like to step outside of my comfort zone, I guess because of the way I was raised and the way my personality formed. I'm also very impulsive at times, so it's kind of like a balance. There's not really a lot that I regret not doing, because there's a lot that I shouldn't have done, but I did it anyway. And I wouldn't take it back. I'm just saying, I think that if something's constructive, like wanting to travel or wanting to go back to school or wanting to learn a new skill, whatever excuses you have for not doing it, I would just do it. I wouldn't say, oh, when I'm retired, when I'm 60, I'll have time to do this, or I'll have an interest in doing it. Just do it now. Like, there's no reason not to do it. And if there is a reason not to do it, find a way to like circle around it so that your life's a little bit more fulfilled and you don't think about it all the time in the back of your head. Like, once you're able to do it and you find happiness and peace from doing it, then you'll realize that you shouldn't have waited too long. And some of the hobbies that I have that fall into that category are cooking. I learned to cook during lockdown. I did diamond painting. I always thought that coloring was really boring, like coloring as a way of relaxing. I hated coloring with pencil crayons, but I started coloring with watercolor markers, and that worked out a lot better for me. I drew a little bit. I've been hiking, like I've always liked to hike, but I started hiking again. Just things like that, things that you can work into your life, even if it's like on a part-time basis or a casual basis. Another thing I want to talk about is wisdom. I know that some people, they get self-conscious about the amount of wisdom they have to offer to other people, especially if they're not accomplished. And in my situation, I am a part-time bachelor's student. I don't know if I'm going to start my master's right away, like back to back, like I'm still deciding that, but I'm in my final year of my bachelor's program. And most of the people in my classes, because I switched from going part-time to full-time, so whenever I go full-time, almost 99% of the students in those classes are like 19-year-old, 18 and 19-year-old kids. And because they're the type of kids that got like 90s as grades in high school, I, in the beginning, felt self-conscious about the amount of knowledge or academic expertise I could contribute, especially in group assignments. And I noticed just this past year that whenever I would participate or whenever I would add anything to like a group assignment, my input was valued, and that just gave me more confidence. And that just goes to show that whoever you are and whatever you've experienced, if you've made it to a certain age, you do have valuable life experience, whether you think so or not. So that was a really important thing for me to take into consideration. I think that for me, the eye-opening moment is when we were doing 3 group assignments in one semester, 3 different classes. And first of all, I was stressed out because I'm a pretty soft-spoken person and I'm introverted as well. So if we're doing group assignments, I'm going to overcompensate because I don't want anyone to say that I was sitting back or I wasn't pulling my fair share or anything. So in all 3 projects, I was kind of like that, trying to overcompensate. And then for one of them, it was a literature review, a type of like academic paper. And we were breaking up the work between 3 or 4 students. And one person was supposed to do the introduction, one person would do like paragraph 1 or 2, one person would do the conclusion. And there was a part left called the implications of the research and future implications and what else? Limitations of the research. So the most technical part of the paper, and I volunteered to do it, not even knowing what those things were. And I was able to do it. It wasn't as hard as I thought, and we got a pretty good grade. So that was a confidence booster, but that's just an example of how you're capable and experienced, whether you think you are or not. Sometimes you just psych yourself out by comparing yourself to other people. And the last thing I wanted to talk about was fear of aging. A lot of women, they fear getting older, they fear the wrinkles, they fear, not being able to maintain your body the way your body looked when you were like in your 20s. And I've had that same thing happen to me. I was really, really slim throughout my 20s and 30s, but then when I hit 40, I was a little bit chunkier, and I'm still not as small as I was before. I was like 120 something pounds. Now I'm like 145 and I can't get under that. I do look a little bit healthier according to some people. I don't even know if I should stand up. If I do stand up and I don't like it, I'll edit it out. But yeah, Move this chair. Like, I'm not a big person. I went from being slim to being kind of average. So even maintaining this weight right now, it is a little bit of a battle because I have to watch what I eat and I have to make sure that I walk a lot so that my stomach doesn't get really, really big because my stomach's not flat. But what I was going to say is sometimes when I fear putting on the weight, when I fear like the wrinkles coming, when I fear not being able to maintain what I look like now, I look at people like Angela Bassett and Taraji P. Henson and Shaka Khan, Tina Turner. Good genes play a factor, water, eating right, rest. Like, some people just naturally look young for a long time. And then even when they look older, they still look good. They look like attractive older people. So just seeing women that look great at an older age, that inspires me not to fear getting old so much, because even women that are in their 80s and 90s, if they've lived a good life, and I don't want to get teary-eyed or anything, but I do have two women in mind. My grandmother, my former babysitter, those women were extremely kind, and they still looked beautiful, and they had like the smile lines that you have if you smile a lot, like here and here. They just lived a long life, and they're just beautiful. You can tell by just looking at them. So I don't know, like they say, people that live hard lives, they age horribly. They have those frown lines, but I don't know if that's a stereotype. I'm just saying that even when you're a lot older, you can still be beautiful inside and outside. I didn't mean to start crying during this video, so I'm going to end it now. If I want to review, as far as style goes, don't be afraid to wear what you want to wear and look how you want to look. Stay on top of your health. Don't worry so much about regrets. If there's something that's doable and you feel like you want to do it, just figure out your limitations, work around them, and then do it so that's not always on your mind. The other thing is, don't feel self-conscious about not being wise and having wisdom to offer, because you do have wisdom with your age. Anything, like even if you have wisdom about, you know, tips for working in a grocery store or tips for fixing a car, that's very valuable for a younger person or even a person your age that doesn't have that knowledge and experience. And the last thing is, don't be afraid of growing older. And just don't be afraid of it. And that's it. If you guys have made it through this whole video, thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Ciao.